Hey guys, welcome.
Hello, how's it going?
Thank you all for joining.
Happy
We, uh,
Tuesday.
yeah, we are going to have a lot of fun today. As you can see, I have all of my seed starting stuff set up. I have my binder here. I have a bunch of biodomes set up and ready to go. So I'm excited to get going. We're going to be doing a lot of indoor seed starting today. We're going to be starting everything from I have some shallots and some herbs and some veggies and all of that. So today
Yep.
we thought we'd take oh sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I can hear you too. It's like I got to get used to being able to hear you in the other room and hear you on here.
Sorry. Yeah, that is weird. I know. It's better for me. Maybe you talk quieter than I do because I don't typically hear you from over here.
I don't think anyone's ever said that before. So this came from last week. We said, why don't we just we were talking about how we need to start all of our seeds, and we were like, why don't we just do it as a live stream? And the overwhelming response in chat was that you guys thought that was a good idea. So we're gonna roll with that. This is not like our usual live streams and workshops where we have like a whole PowerPoint all laid out of everything we're talking about. This is more of a hands-on workshop. So Carrie is right there in our kitchen on the other side of the wall from me. I am at the command station so I can keep track of all the chats and pull up any pictures we want to pull up if anything you guys want to know about. But we're going to use this time to hang out with you all. We're going to plant our favorite varieties. These are literally going into our garden. They're going right into that seed starting station you see behind you in the background. These are the seeds we're starting. We're excited about them. We're going to talk about some of our favorites, why we're growing them, how we eat them. We're going to answer your questions. We're just going to hang out. Hopefully it's warm where you are, at least inside. It is very cold outside. I have not been even outside yet. It's this. I can tell it's cold. We're in
It was
Oklahoma.
Yeah, it was 5 degrees out there this morning. And whenever I took the kids to school, like we were bundling up to go to the car. Luckily, we turned the car on early and got it all heated up. But it was 5 degrees when we were going out there. There was a little bit of snow on the ground. The kids were like, "Why are we going to school? It should be canceled."
I saw some pretty crazy weather reports of like winter storm warnings down near the Gulf. If you're watching from down there and you've got some cool pictures, I don't think you can put comments in a YouTube chat, but you can on our Facebook chat. And this is a live stream on Facebook too. So I would love to see your pictures of if you're down there or anywhere you are. Like show us your gardens. Like that just in general. We want to see more of your pictures from your gardens during these and see what y'all are doing. But I really want to see like some snow down on the coast and some gardens. That sounds cool. So if
I
you're
know
down
that
there,
would be really cool.
we got a little bit of snow. I saw a question asking if we got like a dusting, not enough to close the schools. Carrie, you got out in this morning. Was it bad to drive in, or was it just
No,
yeah?
no. And it was really like it wasn't icy at all. Like I just put the windshield wipers on and it just all flew off. It was just really like, yeah, it was airy and yeah,
Good to
came right
see
off.
Art. We spent some time talking to Art yesterday as a team. Got an understanding of how he uses the app. He is a fellow former engineer, so it's always good to hear from people that think like that, and all they always have great ideas. And he had some great ideas for things and a couple bugs he found in the app. So we talked to him yesterday. It's good to see you and hear Art. Um, yeah, it's cold everywhere. Look at that. Texas got 3 to 4 inches of snow. I bet
Ooh.
it's so cool for y'all. For the people that like still have power and everything, I bet it's kind of cool because you don't get it very often. It's kind of how it is in Oklahoma, where it's kind of a bummer because everything's shut down. It's also like, hey, it's a snow day and we don't get snow a whole lot.
It's
So
so beautiful. I absolutely love the snow. I feel like if it's gonna be cold, we might as well have snow on the ground because I hate the cold, but I'm like, I love snow, so I'm conflicted with that. So
I don't like there being like driving issues. I don't want to be stressed out when I'm driving. So I want it
yeah.
to be like snow, but driving is still normal. So
Well, hopefully you all are staying warm wherever you are, and
yeah.
you can do some indoor seed starting as well. And you don't have to worry about what the weather is outside because it's nice and warm inside.
And don't forget, we have a giveaway on every single one of these live streams. We have 2 giveaways actually. One that we do at the end of this live stream. We will announce a winner. All you have to do to enter is to leave a comment. It can be a question. It can be a funny comment. It can be whatever you want. Just interact with us. Just join the chat. That's how you enter to win. And we have one winner that we give at the end of the live stream, another winner that we announce at the beginning of the next live stream from everyone that watches this after the fact. So if you're watching this and we're not live, leave a comment on either Facebook or YouTube. And next week we'll announce the winner. And that's what we're doing right now, is announcing the winner from last week. So who do we have as last week's winner?
Congratulations to. So I don't know. Like, this is gonna be a name. Yeah. I don't know your name.
ARR
5678. Congratulations. You are our lucky winner. So email us at info@seedtospoon.net and you will be set up for your 1-year premium Seed to Spoon app subscription.
And it's awesome to see that comment about how people feel like they can start seeds after watching. And I think after today, people will be able to see even more evident how easy it is to start your own seeds. So that's what we're doing today. Let's get started. Hey, Carrie, is that light on above you too? The biodome in the background looks a little dark. Maybe that's just how it
is. Yes. I think
I'm working on our lighting situation. I think everyone can see it. I was just seeing if we could brighten it up at all. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get started with planting. So let's talk a little bit about what the goals are for our garden, because I think that's kind of key to thinking about planting. Is some of the goals that we have for our garden may overlap with some of the goals that you have for your garden. But let's talk about why we're starting some of our seeds indoors and how this works into like our overall strategy of wanting to grow food. So first off, a lot of the things that we want to grow in the spring, we can't start them right now because it's like 7 degrees outside there, right? Right now the ground is frozen. But if we start them indoors now, we can put them outside starting here in, probably 6 weeks from now. We'll start putting out some of the things like kale and spinach that we will be talking about today. Quick question I saw here. We're asking what zone. We are in zone 7, but we're talking overall today. We try and make this stuff that we talk about apply to everyone. And then if you want to know specific details on when, like what dates that you need to use for your app, for where you are, that's where our app comes in. So I've got our app here that I can pull up. This is the Seed to Spoon app. There's a QR code in the top right part of the screen that you can just scan with your camera. Just point your camera at it. It'll take you to our website. And this app calculates planting dates for you, and it shows you things that are trending, things that you can grow where you are as well. So just know that like the things we're talking about, even if you can't start them today, like it might be like a week or two before you're starting them. But this is like this is the cool season stuff. This is what everyone starts with, regardless of where you are. These are the things that grow well in the cold, and that's what we're focusing on today. It is basically just like cold season stuff that we're starting. So. Okay, so let's talk about what we're starting first, and we'll talk about like how we're starting it and all of that, and answer your questions as we go. But Carrie, what'd you pick to start with? What do we got?
Okay, so I pulled from our cold season binder here that the kids helped design. I love it. So I have all of our cold season seeds in here, and it's all alphabetical. So I'm sure everybody's gonna guess the first thing I have is broccoli. So I have a bunch of, I did 4, so I have a 40 cell biodome right here that I'm gonna be planting out. So how I typically do it, since I have 8 rows here, I do 8 different varieties per one of these sizes that I do. So what I did was pull out 4 different broccolis, and then I have 4 different cabbages, and then I have several other biodomes over here. So these are the ones that I'm gonna start with at least, and then I have another biodome over here where I'll do more. I'll move on to cauliflower and kohlrabi, all of those ones. But I was gonna start with a bunch of different broccolis first. So first on the list. So Dale, are you going to be logging these as we go through?
Yes. So part of my job here too, as well. I'm gonna try and keep up with the chat. I'm gonna try and keep up with logging. So we're gonna be juggling a lot here, but we're gonna be keeping track of all these things. Are we logged into the right account already? I did not check that. Is this your garden, Carrie? It looks
Yes,
like our
it
gigantic
is.
garden that is yours. Okay, so we got to clean this up because we've been using this
Yeah.
for a lot. We've been doing a lot of testing lately, as you can tell. So let's start a new one for today. We'll call this one Biodome, and this is a 60 cell. Is that right?
This one is a 40 cell.
40 cell.
hmm
And
40 cell
Carrie's a little under
broccoli.
the weather today, so she may have to go on mute, like if she's coughing or something. Well, we'll pick up the slack. She's being a trooper and hanging with us. Okay, 40 cell biodome. How many of these are we going to be planting out? The 40 cells. We just have one right now.
I have two 40 cell biodomes I'm planting
So I'm
out.
going to go ahead and call this number one, so it's easier. And we'll probably put a some tape on the outside of that biodome and write number one on that with a Sharpie, so we know which one is which. So we've got that, and then bed type. We can choose Park Seed Biodome here, which is what we're using. If you're using like a seed tray, you can follow along as well. You can choose that, but we're using a biodome. We're going to choose that here, and it's a 40 cell. And now we can start planning. And now we're going to try and keep up with it. Okay, so that first row, what are we doing? What are we talking
Okay,
about? Which variety is it?
so I have broccoli, and this is artwork.
Okay, so there's two ways we can find this. One is we can search for broccoli and find it. A faster way, you can kind of see where I'm getting at because you can see it down below. If I'm searching for a variety, I'm going to search for that name of that variety. So here's artwork. There we go. It's all of these. For now, I'm going to keep this one overall plant. I'm not going to make a bunch of individual plants because although we hope all of these make it, you never know. We'll split them up later. I'll show you splitting up later on. So here we go. We have broccoli. We have artwork. We're
I
keeping up
really
with it.
like Yeah, we really like the artwork variety because it's a hybrid. So it's like a mixture between part of it, so it makes a big head as well, but once you harvest that, it's going to give you a bunch of side shoots as well. So you can be harvesting that too, which is really great. That's like one of my favorite ways to eat broccoli is whenever it develops those side shoots. Yeah, right there. So I love this variety. It's one of our favorites, which is why we're starting it.
Yeah, this one tastes so good. Um, so I find that broccoli that we buy from the store that's like a big head of broccoli doesn't have a ton of flavor. It's kind of a bland taste. At least that's been my experience. You get what you pay for. I'm sure I could go to nicer grocery stores, fine, but I don't have time for that. We got a lot of kids. We're shopping as fast as we can when we're doing grocery shopping. So anyway, broccoli for me really like I love to cook and I love to make things taste good and I love to try and like take something from a restaurant that I eat and see if I can make that at home and make it taste just as good. And this broccoli has been key to that because there are several places we love to eat that have this broccoli that Carrie absolutely loves. That's just like roasted perfectly, has some
Yes.
butter with it and some garlic, and she absolutely loves it. And you put a little bit of cheese on it, and it makes it where the kids eat it too. So anyway, like I really like this broccoli because it makes a whole bunch of these little broccoli shoots that have it's almost like they have like a built-in buttery flavor. And I'm always putting butter on them too. So my mind just maybe has that association. But something about them, just the richness, the darkness of the color, it just tastes different than store-bought broccoli. You will notice a big difference if you grow this. It's easier to grow than broccoli that produces like big heads of broccoli. Overall, I just really like this type of broccoli, whether it's artwork or whether it's Asperbrock. I think Asperbrock is actually it's hard to pick a favorite. They're both so similar, and a lot of times I don't even keep track of which one I'm eating. I just know which one I'm harvesting when I'm out in the garden. Now we didn't have the planner last year. Now that we have the
So
planner, I'm going to know exactly what we're eating.
I need to apologize to you right now. Is we
Uh-oh.
only have two seeds left from last season of Asperbrock. So I will plant two of these out for you. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
So we better keep track really good of
Well,
which two
good
are
thing is
your.
we can handle that perfectly fine in the app. I do want to come back to the app though, because we're doing multiple broccolis. I want to start something now. On this broccoli that's artwork, I'm going to make this a different background color because I already know I'm going to want to have like my broccoli looking different so I can know which one's which. Artwork. We always have like a fun time figuring out what color goes with what. Carrie,
Do
you already
not
have
do
one in mind.
purple because I have purple broccoli coming up. So no
Noted.
purple yet.
Noted. Do you have a specific one you really want to use here? Do you have one?
Artwork, something really like bright probably because I feel like artwork should be really pretty. So, is there a pink or
This one.
yes,
Is that
that
good?
one is beautiful. It's perfect.
Okay. Hey, from now on in the chat, I think we could start doing like first one to like throw a color in when we one of those radio contests. We can start doing. Okay, so we've got that one noted. Now we're going to do the next. We have 2 seeds of this one. So look what I can do
The
here.
Baskerbrook.
So whenever I click on this next square to plant, we've got recently planted right here. And this is nice because I can choose that broccoli. I'm still going to search though because I want to associate the variety faster. And this is the fastest way to do it. Aspabrock.
And you're gonna kill me. I dropped one of this. I dropped 2 of them in there accidentally.
Into one.
Into one, and I was like trying to find it, but I'm like, oh
Okay.
man,
We're going to have one special.
we
But
have
hey,
one Asperbrock. I'm sorry.
you know what? In the past, we always did biodomes 1 row per variety because it was a pain to create little to create the markers for each one of these and keep track of what was what. Now that we have the digital version of it, I don't think we have to worry about it. We can do a whole biodome of different varieties of each one now. And this is exciting for us too because we built this software like for us and you guys too, but like we need this too, y'all. Like we're trying to do this and manage it, and it's chaos trying to do all this with having a large family and just basketball practices and everything else we got to do. These are the types of things that make it easy for us to keep track of it. So, all right, are we going to do one broccoli at a time now? We're just going to do that. We do have a lot of broccoli varieties we like, so we could do that if we wanted to. We got to choose a color for Asperbrock. Do we have one in the comments? I see yellow already. Okay, we've got a winner. So we're going to do yellow. Okay, back in here. I'm getting too click happy. I'm sorry, y'all. It's been a common complaint in my life when people try to follow me on computers. I click real fast. So on these live streams, I try and like be slow and relaxed with my clicking so it's not too crazy. Okay, so what's our next variety we're doing?
Next one, I have Romanesco.
Romanesco. Okay,
Yes.
so come in here.
This one is really unique. Like it looks so pretty. I love it. You're gonna need to pull up a picture for them too whenever we do that.
Yep. I'm also realizing we need to have a way to jump into this variety detail faster from here. So that's another good thing about these live streams that we do together is if you guys see things too where you notice like, hey, I would like to be able to do this differently, jump into the chat and tell us that too, because there might be things that I'm not thinking of how you organize your garden, but this is the thought process of how we use the app. So I would want to see, I want to see a big picture of that Romanesco. We need to make it to where it's easy to jump into that. Because right now I've got to come all the way over here to varieties and then go. That's just too many taps, y'all. I get it. Can't be doing all this tapping. Okay.
Yeah, look at that.
There we go. But look how cool that looks.
Yeah.
I kind of want to be able to take that full screen and zoom in on it too. But I'm a nerd. I like.
Oh, I see a color. Light blue.
This one, I think we had more difficulty with last year. I'm going to take more care with this one. I'm going to spend some time studying more on this one. I have not grown this one super six. I have not grown one that looks that cool yet.
I know. That's what I'm like. It looks so cool. I want to.
Yep.
I want to.
Yep. We're gonna this is one that I remember noting it. This is one that I want to spend some time on. Really make sure that we're figuring out how to grow this one. It's not as easy as some of the other ones, but it's a fun project for us. So that's why I'm pretty excited about that one. Okay, how many are we doing on that one? Did you finish out that row?
I finished the row up, yeah.
Okay,
we
so I've already got
about artwork with cabbage worms too.
Yep, you're going to have cabbage worms with all of these broccolis that we're talking about, unless you do one of 2 things. You can either use insect netting which if I go to the app and I go down into, we have videos that cover these PVC domes that we make right here that we put insect netting on. We also do greenhouse coverings on them in the winter. But these really help out a lot with preventing those cabbage worms. You can also use BTK, which is a naturally occurring soil bacteria. What can I search for in here? Caterpillar? Is that what it's under, Carrie? Yep, right here. If I search for caterpillar, then this right here is a spray you can use. Both of those are options that will help with cabbage worms.
We did get a good question up here about, as we're starting broccoli, we can chat a little bit about that. So the temperature that we do, I mean, typically we're either starting these inside of our house right here, or we have them out in our garage. So typically I just try to do like the temperatures that they like. So if it's a cool season one, I'm fine with them being cool, because they like it how their environment is generally.
Yeah, but tomatoes and peppers, things like that, we're not going to be starting those in our garage right now because our garage gets too, especially today. I went out there because that's where we keep like our extra drinks. And I was like, man, it feels like very cold out here. Like it would, tomatoes and peppers would not have survived that. So all of those were growing in a climate controlled environment. But, this broccoli and stuff like that would be okay in our garage, especially if we had a heat mat on it. And technically, you could do a heat mat with tomatoes and peppers, but there's just like it's just easier for us to do that indoors, and we have the space for it. But there's ways you can pull it off if you need to, using things like heat mats. I do want to show a feature we have as well to handle a specific situation that we just found ourselves in. So we planted this Romanesco into one cell, and now we want to make it where this goes to multiple places because she planted this whole row. You put the whole row of it, right? Like the rest of
Yes.
these right here. So I want to show a couple ways we can do this. One, I could come in here and I could duplicate the plant. So I don't have it from this menu here. We need to add it into that menu because you have to come over here and then you can do duplicate plant. So we'll take the note of that. We need to add that in where you can do it from the grid, but you can come in here and you can duplicate the plant. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to have multiples of this plant. What I want to have is this broccoli spread across multiple rows because I don't want to have like multiple plants I have to manage. Like these aren't full scale plants yet. They're just like, hopefully they will be plants at one point, but they're not yet. So what I'm going to do is come in here and click adjust. And now I can just click on the cells I want these to cover. And now this is one plant that covers multiple cells. And this is a feature that hopefully this makes sense to all of you. This is one of the things I was concerned about when we built this was having it to where you can have plants that are one plant that take up multiple rows, but then also have like one plant that each takes up a row. I hope that's clear how that works. If it doesn't make sense or if there's things we can do to make that more clear, let us know. But that's the purpose of it is, right now, I don't want this to be a bunch of individual plants. When I come to the plant list here, I just want to see the 3 varieties I'm working with. And then once these go out into the garden, then I'm going to start taking these and splitting these up to be their own plant. And right here, I'll do the split plant into multiple. And I'm not going to do that right now because I'm not doing that today. But when we get to the point where we're doing that, and every week we'll be showing some of this stuff, in our live streams. So when we get to that point, I'll show. And if we get to the end, I can show a hypothetical. But for today, that's kind of how I'm thinking on how we're logging plants and how that works. And hopefully that's helpful. And if y'all have any questions or anything, just put them in the chat. Okay, so what is our next variety we've got? Have you already done the 3rd row?
Yep, I just did it. Purple Magic. Which I absolutely love Purple Magic. I mean, any sort of unique color, I am a huge fan of, but especially if there's a beautiful purple one, oh, I'm a sucker for it. So I'm very excited for this one. Yes.
Let's also go in and just look briefly. So on these varieties, if I wanted to keep track of more info in here, I could come and click on here and do more. There's really nothing else I care about knowing at this point, though. All I want to know is what variety did I plant where, and then I'll start keeping track of more info later. But if you want to use all that detail, you can. I mean, you can add notes, you can add photos, all that type of stuff. Um, but that's not really something we're doing kind of at this point, but it's all there for you if you want. What's our next variety? Do we have another broccoli or are we
I have another broccoli, Sky Tree.
sky tree? What is that one?
This
I'm
is
not,
a new one. So this one was one of the AAS award winners. So I think it was like last year's winner. So Park Seed added it into their collection. I think last fall maybe, or this year. I don't know, but it's one we haven't grown yet. We haven't grown this one before. I'm really excited to give it a try.
so what AAS means right here is the All American Selection. So I can't tell you all the details about how they go about picking these, but I can tell you they treat it very seriously. And these people really know what they're doing when it comes to choosing great varieties. And when we're like trying to pick varieties and we're not sure which one to go with, if there's one that's available that's one of these, we typically lean towards that. And we've had pretty good success over the years doing that. So, um, I love doing experiments in my garden. I love like figuring out stuff on my own, but I also can appreciate that a lot of other people are doing the same thing and we can learn from them as well. So that's why I like to lean on some of these selections when I'm making decisions, and we like to try all the new ones. We got a whole pack in the other day of a whole lot of new ones we're gonna be trying out this year. So that's what this one is, and we're excited to try that one too. It's the
I
purple
did see
color.
this. Yeah, I did see this color about the purple, or this color. Oh my gosh. This question about the purple color of the purple magic. So, whenever you do cook these, it is going to take some of the color away, but not all of it. Like, it's still going to be very clearly purple whenever you cook it.
I have not been able to keep up on chat as I've been demoing stuff. Have we had any questions that have come up from the chat about the app or anything? Have you been able to keep up with it, or have you been busy over there too?
Sort of. I hope I haven't been missing everything. I've been trying to glance over and look. So, it's been moving
Cool.
quite a bit. So,
Cool. Well, is there anything more detailed we want to show? And we could kind of zoom in and show you, and I can catch up on chat, and then you could talk about what you're doing over there. Are there any other details you want to show about how we're planting, or any questions we've gotten about like how we're planting or anything like that? We've talked a little bit about the biodome. Have you explained how we're going to be watering it and keeping up and everything, doing that with it?
no, you know what? I didn't even mention what I think I mentioned a little bit in the beginning that I was using a 40 cell biodome, but this is one of the Parksy biodomes. So this is the medium size. They have ones that are bigger, ones that are smaller. This is just the nice medium size. I find it perfect for like the broccoli, cabbage, things like that that we're going to be doing today. And then I really like these because you can just lift this out whenever I go to transplant them. Super easy. I just go from below and I push, and the sponge itself just comes in, and I just go in and plant that out in my garden. Like, it's super simple to use. And then you can put some water down here in this tray whenever you are watering them, and the sponges will soak them up through the bottom. So you have less risk of like mold, mildew, fungus gnats, like everything. Like, this is always, I always call it the foolproof way of planting, especially if I have any difficult to germinate things. I always start them in here because it has these lids right here too that go on top that are pretty sturdy, and they have these vents as well. So it just creates the perfect environment for your seeds whenever they're germinating. So I generally only drop in like one, maybe two if it's a difficult to germinate one, or if I'm have old seeds or something like that. But typically I'm just dropping in one seed, or if I guess I accidentally drop like I did before. But typically I'm just doing one seed because it just pretty much always germinates. So they work amazing. I'm a huge fan of them. And I do want to, here, I can pull it up because I saw that somebody was asking where to get them. And we do have them in the app. as well. So you can find them in our From Seed to Spoon app. So under the shopping section, you can find them in, well, I thought I had a Biodome QR. There it is. Right here, this will take you to the Park Seed website. If you scan this QR code, if you guys wanted to check these out, because this is what it is that I'm using right here to plant out everything today.
Carrie, can you take this one too? We got some questions about what flowers can be started. And specifically, it sounds like medicinal flowers and things that will attract pollinators. So if you could cover some of the things
Perfect.
that we can start for those.
Yeah, so I was actually looking at some of them today because I wanted to start several today, but it was just a little bit on the early side for me. But actually, you can go ahead and start things like petunias right now because petunias are actually on my list. Calendula is one that's a really good medicinal flower as well, and it's a cool season one. It does really well. It even lasted through the summer here for us in Zone 7 last year. Like it did amazing. It's one of my new favorites, and it thrived whenever I started them indoors. So I'm a huge fan of calendula, so I'm going to be doing those soon. I think I looked at it right before this live stream to see if I could plant it today, and I think it said February 3rd I could start or something like that. It was very soon. I was like, "Ooh, I'm coming up. I'm so close."
And
And
we
then
do have a lot of these in the app, so you can see
yes,
dates specific for you in the app right here.
yes. Yeah. And let's see, other things that you can start early, things like I know I already mentioned petunia. I mean, marigold is something that I typically seed start indoors. I don't know the dates on that because I did not look that one up because it's not a cool season one. So let me think. Other cool seasons, snapdragons. Do you want to check the dates on snapdragons? Because those are really nice ones, and those would bring in a lot of pollinators. Um, but also, if you're looking for things like medicinal, I know chives are healthy for you and they have really pretty flowers. They bloom, and I'm actually going to be starting some of those today too. So that's something that you could start right now. And I know it's not a flower, but it sort of has some flowery things, and I love it. It's beautiful.
Well, and the
Um,
same thing with like sage and a lot of the herbs like that.
yeah.
And we'll cover. So right today we're starting our vegetables. We're going to be growing all these flowers too. So we'll start
Mhm.
those maybe even next week. That might be what we do next week on this live stream is start some of our flowers now. So we have another seed starting area out in our garage. We can start some of our flowers that can handle colder temperatures. So we'll cover all of that next. Pansies as well. Yep, I saw Wendy mention pansies. That's a great cold weather flower as well.
And violas along that same
Yeah.
line. Those are another really good one. um, this is a really good point. So thank you for bringing this up. We do have a medicinal plant theme in the app. So we have a bunch of different themes that are created. So if you want to grow for like a specific reason like this, or if you want a pollinator garden or things like that, we have a bunch of different like salsa gardens, pizza garden, all of those things. Dale, you want to pull up the themes and show them?
Oh, I thought I was sharing my screen already. There we go. Okay. Here's the different themes that we have, and here's medicinal herbs. We need to make some a new one that's like a medicinal flowers as well. But like she said, a lot of these herbs produce beautiful flowers that
Yeah.
attract a ton of pollinators as well.
Oh,
So
yes. Yeah, we always have
basil,
so many. I mean, like you said, like basil, sage, like all of those. There's always so many bees around it. Like it's amazing. It brings in so many.
okay, let's jump back over, and we will do our giveaway at the top of the hour. If we go over that, it's fine. We're not setting a time limit on today, but we will do our giveaway at the top of the hour. So just a note there. But we're going to be planting. We got to plant a whole lot of seeds. We got to get through all these. So all right. So what do we got
Okay.
next? What's next on
I'm
our
gonna
list? Are we done with the
do
broccoli now?
yes. I'm gonna do Emiko cabbage next.
EMIK, right? Isn't that how I spell
Yep.
it? Yep. So this one is awesome for giving you a. Are you doing a whole row of it?
Hold on. I'm
Okay.
I might not. Let's
All
see
right.
how
I'll
many
let you
I
figure
have.
that out, and let me go jump to the picture of it.
Ooh, I have just enough. So yes,
Perfect.
I'm going to do a whole row of Amico.
So these are giant leaves of cabbage that are awesome for a tortilla replacement. We love to make a mix of rice and chicken and pico and some like cilantro or something like that, and just like stuff it in the middle of one of these, and you can either eat it fresh. I've also seen people cook them and stuff. I don't really ever do that. I always just kind of use them as a fresh tortilla replacement. Um, it's I really like this cabbage variety. You do need to have plenty of space for it because it can get really big. So that's one of the mistakes that I made on it last year was I um, planned to grow it more as a small leafy cabbage, and I should have just given it more space to let it grow to full size. So I'm gonna be giving this more space, and also it did have some pretty heavy pressure from cabbage worms. Um, so I'm going to be a little better about interplanting it with herbs and relying on companion strategies. So what I'm going to do is if I go to cabbage in the app here, you can go to companions, and then I'm going to plant a bunch of these things around my cabbage, especially like the oregano and rosemary, things like that. Some of these flowers, I'm going to mix the cabbage around those and not have a just all my cabbage together, which I knew better. But um, last year we were really trying to like try all of these varieties, and I tried to like lay them out to be next to each other, and I was doing like experiments, and it made sense for what we were doing to try that, but it was more pest pressure than I want to deal with. So this year we're going to go back to more of the okay, our cabbage. We're not going to have any two cabbages that are right next to each other. They're all going to be surrounded by other stuff, and we're going to lean more into some of the square foot gardening principles of intermixing. And um, but we had, I mean, we tried to grow every variety in the app last year of not every plant, but broccoli was one of them, and cabbage was one of them. And now that we have a better idea of our favorites, we're gonna you know, do more of that. So we've got that one that's taken. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say. So speaking of really large ones, I'm doing another large one.
Which one's
I'm
this?
doing the megaton.
So this one is a head cabbage. So this is going to produce. Are we doing a whole row of it?
Yep.
So I see
Unless
what you're
you
trying
think
to
we don't
do.
have enough space.
Nope, I know what you want to do. Let's do it. We're
Okay.
gonna try and grow a giant cabbage. That's
I
what you
know. That's what I
want to do.
want.
Yep. It's
It's gonna be
fun.
great.
There's a competition that third graders across the country do to grow a large cabbage, and my daughters have been a part of it. Two of them have been, and it's always been fun. And yeah, you can grow up to 15 pounds on this one. Um,
Sounds
so
fun.
all right. So if you want to try and grow a really big cabbage just as a fun experiment, we're gonna have to really protect this thing. It's gonna have its own PVC dome just to protect it. It's gonna be surrounded by oregano. We're gonna go like wild on this particular cabbage. Um, but that's a way to have fun with gardening and to involve your kids too. Like
Oh
that's a
yeah.
great thing about it too is if you do this, like your kids will go out there and look at now they'll be heartbroken if your dog breaks in and eats it because you fertilized it too much with fish fertilizer and made the dog really want to eat it. I speak from experience. But that's also, but they'll learn a lot through the process of all of this, and hopefully you can keep the animals off of it. But it's a fun way to bring your kids into it. So we're gonna try some megaton hybrid. It's a whole row of it, right? I think I
Yeah.
already got what was that. Okay, we got to do different colors for cabbage. We've got Amico. It's
Oh
been a
yep.
while since we've done. All right, first one in the chat with a color is what we're doing for Amico.
Okay. What color for Miko?
We'll go with this one, and then I'll do the next one I see in the chat for this one.
Ooh, something that's really large.
Well, all the colors. I don't. That's a tough question. What color is large? Real.
Red.
We're doing
Yeah,
it.
I like
Okay.
it. It looks superhero-y that way.
Oh, someone said light green, and that's what I went with. Look at that. Okay. The next ones are on deck. These are the next colors on deck.
Oh, well, for this one, oh wait, no.
Next plant.
We can't do red for that one because I have Red Express coming up. So we do
Oh,
have
obviously. What are we doing?
I know. I know. What was I
All right,
thinking?
orange it is. Wendy says orange. We're doing orange. Okay. Red Express is the next one.
Yes. So Red Express, we do need a compact variety now. So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
do I do love this variety. It is one of these smaller ones. So if you do have a small space, this one is perfect. It's a little cute cabbage. Like it grew amazing for us last year. I feel like this was probably our best performing one. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like this one did the
It
best out of
was.
all of our cabbages. And
Yeah.
it
It
looked
did.
the best. It was beautiful.
Definitely
Well,
had less pest pressure too.
oh yes.
So
I say, well, that and the next one that I'm doing too. You probably know what's next.
what's next?
My color up purple.
Color
That
up.
one, I remember that one from last year. That one did well too. It was really pretty. It's
The
gorgeous.
ornamental cabbage. This one here.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. So if you're asking what flowers we grow, this is basically a flower because we're not really growing this for I mean you can eat it, but it's more of an ornamental. And that's why we like to grow this one as Carrie just loves the way it looks. So we'll probably have this one in our front yard, actually, in our flower garden there along our walkway. We'll have some of that mixed in.
I love it.
That's probably what we'll do with this cabbage. So if you're asking about like early season color and stuff for your garden, it doesn't always have to be like flowers you think of. There are some varieties of cabbage and kale that do really well in cold weather that you can do. And then technically they're edible, but they don't usually taste the best, or they're not usually made for that. They're made to look really good. Okay, so I'm going to change the color on all of these. All right, so that covers this biodome tray. So
Yeah.
we will take this tray
Let
and
me put a
fill
little
it.
bit of water in it first before we.
So we'll just fill a couple inches on the bottom with water. And then we will put the dome on it and put it under there, under the grow lights that you see in the background. And we'll leave that dome on it until they start to sprout. Once one sprouts, we'll start opening the slits on the top to let the airflow kind of go through. And then once all of them sprout, we'll take the lid completely off and we'll put it just a few inches away from the grow lights, keep it that way. And let's talk about where these are going to go. So some of these plants are going to go out in like the outside garden area that we have. Carrie, we got a picture in here somewhere, don't we? That we can show.
Of what? I'm sorry, I was looking at
Like
the
what our
next
garden looks like out there right now, like, or not necessarily right
one.
now,
Like
but
right now. Well, this is our
yeah. So
garden.
this is basically like how we grow outside. We have a lot of both smart pots that we have set up everywhere, and we also have wooden raised beds like this. We have 12 of these, I think, total.
Um,
4x8 raised beds.
8.
8 of these. So that's how we grow outside in our main growing area. But we also have a lot of growing that we do around the house. So we have these grow towers. Do we have a picture of one of those we can show?
Sorry, I was reading questions.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
The grow towers that we use on the porch. Do you have a picture of one of those we can show? Because that's what we're growing for right now. Or if you can find a picture of one of those, of the towers that we're going in. So a
Let me
lot of
look.
the things that we're starting right now from seed, we're going to be transplanting out into those grow towers. Not necessarily the things we've shown so far. This is all going to go out in our main garden, but all the lettuces and stuff that you'll see coming up that we're starting.
Yeah,
Um,
not easy to find. I'm sorry. I don't
okay.
have
Yeah.
easy
What's the name of the
easily
grow towers? Do you remember the name? We maybe
green
put a link
stock.
in them. The green stalk grow towers. Um, so anyway, a lot of these are going to be going into there. Can you pull one of those plugs out and bring it up to the camera? Because we had a question earlier that I want to
Oh,
address now as
about
well
the
that
40
ties into
cell?
this idea. Yeah, just one of the, yep, so one of those. So someone asked earlier about using these for aquaponics. Where is it in
Oh, I
here?
did
Here
see
it is.
somebody asked about the size of a 40 cell biodome too. So
Yeah,
this
can
is a
these
40
seeds be
cell.
started in? So the way that I think about like our grow towers, they're not aquaponic, but it's very similar into kind of how I think about the way that I treat the operation, where I'm starting these seeds in these biodome little sponges, and then I'm moving them out into the grow tower, and it's way faster and easier for me than trying to transplant them from a larger sized cup down into the tiny holes that are in the grow towers. These are perfect where I can just make a little opening in there in the grow tower where the soil is, and then put the sponge down in there and then cover it up. And it's perfect for that situation. So a lot of these sponges are going in there, especially for the lettuce and any of the greens that we're starting. Some of these smaller cabbages we'll do in the grow towers as well. Also, some of the hybrid broccolis we can do in the grow towers. But so that's basically a rundown on the way that we're growing outside so that you understand why we're starting some of this indoors and how we're starting, like why we're starting in these sponges and why I like these sponges so much. A large reason is because of how much easier it makes to transplant these things into tight planting conditions, because otherwise I'm having to either disrupt the roots or make room for an opening of a container that's just too, it just doesn't work out as well as when I'm transplanting from these sponges. It's just the easiest way I found to do that. So
Okay, I found there's a few questions that I wanted to pop up here. So Donna was asking, do you ever do a stratification or soaking of seeds? And I do want to say, so it really is variable on the seeds and what it is that we're starting. So now some seeds will require that, or just do like worlds better for you if you do that. But a lot of the ones like we're planting today, like we aren't doing any of that. And then Wendy was asking, when something is called ornamental, does it also mean it's an edible? So like a pepper. Um, I will say this does apply to a lot of peppers. I don't know if it applies to every single one or not, but I do know that like Parkseed has this. I think it's called like Easter pepper variety. It is
right.
gorgeous and it has like these purple, like it is an ornamental pepper and it's absolutely beautiful, but it is edible, but it is like super, super hot and it's not supposed to be like quite as good as the other. Yeah, right here. So technically, like this one is an ornamental, but it is edible as well. Now, I don't know if that applies to every single one. Do you know?
I just think a lot of these ornamental ones, like you could eat it, but you're not going to want to do it twice. Like it just
Yeah.
doesn't taste great, or it doesn't, even if it's hot, it doesn't have the same type of like jalapenos are hot, but they also have another flavor that I like about it. And when I've tried, because I'm the type of person, I've tried these ornamental ones, be like, well, what's the difference? And after I eat it, like it just like tastes a little bitter. It just doesn't like, it
Yes.
just
Yes,
doesn't
I
taste
think
good.
that's the difference. It is a little
Yeah,
bit bitter. Like it's just not the
yeah.
same, but technically yes, it is edible. You can eat it.
But I think a lot of these too, like wildlife, will tend to eat them a lot more as well, like stuff like birds and maybe not peppers,
Yes.
but like a lot of these plants that are ornamentals may not be necessarily edible for you, but for wildlife they are. So there's other benefits if you like supporting supporting the birds out there.
Yeah, do you see Kimberly says her favorite ornamental veggie is cabbage. It's hard to find though. So you need to check out that color up purple from Park Seed because it's beautiful. I love it.
Some other questions I saw too. I'm going to go ahead and pull up here. Opinions on a composter. Um, it's definitely so. Anything other than taking your food and putting it in the trash is better. You have a lot of different ways of doing it. You can do it through composting directly. You can do it through a worm bin, through things like chickens. Um, my favorite way to do it is through a worm bin, because the worms not only make uh, really good fertilizer out of the compost that you put into it, the fertilizer also has growth hormones that come from the worms as well. So if I found that worms just make the really best stuff for your plants. So that's why I like to use worms the most. But we're on like a small scale farm. So everything here ends up going to chickens or pigs or goats or something like that. But whatever situation you're in, it's all better than going in the trash. So, if that's a compost on your balcony or whatever it is. But if you can have worms, I definitely recommend that. And that's my sales pitch for worms. Question about storing seeds. You can store seeds a long time if you do it the right way. Just keep them out of light and in cooler temperatures. And that's the ideal way to store them. Um, some seeds last longer than others, and they definitely will lose viability as time goes on. They won't be as good, but a lot of them will still work. So we have some seeds that we've stored, that we have uh, for years that we probably at this point aren't going to plant now. But we have them in an emergency situation, and if we had to grow them, I bet at least like 70% of them would work. But I really like using fresh seeds that we get from Park Seed, because the germination rate is like 99%. So all this time we're putting into starting seeds isn't wasted, because 99% of them are going to germinate. And that's just on our own experience. That's not their company like stat on how many germinate. That's my own personal experience on what we've seen as far as germination compared to the seeds we used to get before. That before we used to, like, a lot of times we would wait till seeds went on clearance at the end of the year, and then we would buy them from the previous year, and then they would sit, and then and they worked, but like a lot of times we would have random issues where things wouldn't germinate, or we had random problems with the sick plants, and we
Well, and
noticed a
I
big
would always
difference.
use like at least like 3 seeds in each hole when we did that, because
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
one would germinate if I did that. So I feel like, yeah.
Yeah. So whenever we switched over to using exclusively the seeds that are sold in our app, we we noticed a big uptick in quality, and so now we just only do one seed on each. Okay. So what's our next biodome that we're planting? Let's see.
I'm doing a 60 cell biodome next. That was my next one I had up. So this one, you notice that these sponges are quite a bit smaller than that 40 cell one we planted out. Here, I'll show you guys. You can kind of see right here. This is the size of it. So this is going to be more for, I haven't started any of, so I have these really cool shallot seeds that I'm going to do. And then I have some baby leaf kale, parsley, and green onions that we're going to be planting out in here today. So yeah, I'm excited to do that.
This is our make stuff taste good garden that we're doing, basically, because these are all
I
the
like
things we put into every single meal that we eat. Like, for most everything we make involves sauteing something with either onions or shallots, or like these green onions, like, are a topping to pretty much everything we do as well. So this is a very important garden that we're starting today, because this is what makes everything taste good. And we have a lot of different types that we're doing. We're doing some shallots. If you haven't tried shallots yet, they're very similar to onions, but more of a mild flavor, really nice for cooking. Um, we're going to be doing some onions as well, but we're doing those in a separate tray. This is just more of our, this is shallots, and then also some of the chives that we're doing. A very common question that we get, and a question that I had when we first started growing food back in 2015, was, what is the difference between onions and chives? Because these onions produce green tops. So why do I need to have both onions and chives? Like, why can't I just cut the top off of onions instead? So here's the short answer. Chives are developed and bred to taste really good as the green tops. They also have some key advantages in that they are perennial, meaning they come back every year. They're around most of the time. They spread on their own. They're very prolific at producing a bunch of green tops, and they're not hurt by you cutting them. They just produce more. So that's what chives are. They're perfect for that. Onions, on the other hand, need the green tops in order to grow large bulbs. So if you go start harvesting the tops off of those, you're going to hurt the bulb development of the onion. The tops also are not going to taste as good as ones that come off of chives. So that is a short answer as to why you need both. We're starting both of them here. So we've got shallots that we're going to grow as bulbs, and then the green onions that we're going to start. And then those are going to, green onions and chives are the same thing, basically. You'll hear those terms interchanged. And if you hear one, it's the same thing for both, basically. So, but we love them. And we have some, a specific thing I want to mention too is some herb scissors that we have. I don't know, do we have, here they are. These herb scissors make a huge difference if you're cutting chives every day, because it's so much faster and it's also easier for the kids. So as we've taught our kids how to cook and we've gotten them involved in cooking, this is an easy kind of first step of getting them involved. Is they cut the chives and they just hold it over the mashed potatoes and they cut the chives using these scissors. It makes a bunch of small pieces. Really like having these herb scissors. So we use these with chives. But onions and chives are both really simple to grow. They're grown differently though. So let's first talk about onions. I guess we need to catch up and log into the app as well. Let me get back to here. So the first row, were those shallots?
No, I did parsley.
Parsley? Oh, well, we did. Oh, well, I was talking all about onions. Okay. Oops. Okay. Well, let's talk about parsley. Well, where did we put the onions? Because let me go ahead and log those. We don't have to go in order in here. Or the shallots, I mean. Where are those? And did you plant those yet?
I'm doing the shallot. I'm gonna do the shallots now, and I'm gonna do the bottom 5 rows of shallots because I want a lot of these.
Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and log those, and then we'll talk about the parsley that we're growing also. Is it the Nero shallots, these ones?
No, it is the... Ooh, I don't even know how to pronounce this.
Oops.
I don't know. It starts with an E. But it's the really colorful ones. I love, 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 love these.
We should play Connect 4 with this. I just realized we could play Connect 4 with this. That's cool.
I love it. Yeah, that's fun.
Okay, so first 5 rows, shallots, and then you said it was, what was the name of it?
ECHALION.
Okay.
These are like the ones that are like super, really pretty and colorful, and I really like these ones.
Okay, so half the tray is that, and then so let's talk about parsley because I think we covered chives and onions and why we're growing them. Parsley is again another thing we use to make things taste good. So it's one of our favorite herbs to cook with. Let me pull it up in here. I spelled it wrong. I spelled parsley wrong. There we go. So the first row is parsley.
I did the Italian.
So let me show you. If you don't log it immediately and you want to add it after, you can come in here and then you can choose the variety, and then that'll link the variety over as well. So parsley's pretty easy to grow. Not a lot to say about it. You just plant some seeds and you'll have some parsley soon.
We like it in our couscous. That's one of my favorite ways to use it. Like we make this couscous and it's super tasty. Like it just adds so much flavor. So that is like my favorite thing to use parsley for. I feel like that's what I always grow it for. I'm like, need some for my couscous.
Yep. Usually, like I much prefer like cilantro is my favorite herb, and if I can have cilantro, I'm using that more. I don't use parsley quite as much as I use some of the other ones, but like she said, that couscous is not the same without the parsley. It like makes that couscous. That
Yes.
and the yellow raisins that we put in it too. Like we add like the yellow raisins into the couscous. Like, do you have that recipe out?
I'm not sure. I've posted about it before and I've made videos, but I don't know if I actually have that recipe in the app or not. I'll have to look. I'll have to look.
Um, we don't have a video directly about worm farms, but we did a live stream about this not too long ago where we talked about like all of this. Remember that was like probably a month ago we did that?
Yeah, yeah. We were talking all about compost on a live stream. Yeah, it probably was about a month ago. So, yeah, if you just look back on our live stream, oh, yep, there you go.
Gosh, was it really that long ago now?
It doesn't seem like it was. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
if you click on Seymour, I promise you we did it like within the past few months. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah. It
remember
was
talking about
at
worms
least
not
this
that long
fall.
ago. Yeah. Okay. So let me jump back into this garden. So what are these other rows? We've got the
Second
chives,
was baby leaf kale.
baby leaf kale, and the one with the onions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So the second row is
Yeah, this was another one because it's a smaller variety of kale. It does really well with the 60 cell for the 60
yeah.
cell biodome. So this was a space that I could grow a lot of these kales in.
And this is one of our mixes of several kale varieties that all do really well harvesting at that stage. Let me jump over here to pull up a big picture of it.
Oh, it was right there on top.
Okay. Yep, I remember this one now. So it's a couple different varieties that you can harvest when they're all about like 3 or 4 inches. Um, and then it's really good. And like we use this in like a salad mix that we'll make that'll be like a quarter kale, a quarter spinach, and half like romaine or something like that. Like we'll mix that together. Um, but it's especially in the winter, kale has a really sweet flavor. It's not like the kale that you may have had. Like any kale that I bought from the store is bitter. It just never tastes the way it does when you harvest it from the garden when it's cold outside. And that's one thing you've got to really get used to. Um, when you're gardening is like there's this concept around growing what's right for that time. So kale grows best in the cold, tastes best in the cold. Technically, you can grow it deeper into the summer and you can keep it alive, but the taste becomes very bitter and you really don't like to eat. Like I don't like to eat it during that time. So I try and eat things whenever they taste best. Kale is one of those things that tastes best in the early spring, and all throughout the spring until it starts getting above like into the 90s and like upper 80s is when kale really starts to lose its flavor. But until then, it's a rock star for us. It does really well. It is in the same family as cabbage and broccoli, but doesn't have the same pest issues quite as bad. It seems like it's able to hold off the pests a lot better than cabbage and some of the other ones. So this is also one that sometimes we will just take some seeds and just sprinkle them outside directly into the garden they're going into. These ones we're starting this way because we want to be able to put them in that garden tower, and that garden tower gets even colder than the gardens outside right now because it's up in the air, it's not protected, and it wouldn't be able to handle like the seed starting wouldn't go well there. So we're getting a jump start on that by starting them in here, and then here like in about 6 weeks or so, maybe a month from now, we'll have to look how the weather forecasts are looking for our area, but we'll start trying to get some of these baby kale plants out into some of those areas like that. So this is just a fraction of what we're doing with our kale and lettuce. A lot of our kale and lettuce and spinach will be started directly outside just by sprinkling seeds, and we'll bring you all that too. We'll do the same thing. I think our live streams this year, let's just all the planting we're doing in our garden, we'll try and just do it on these live streams. It's a little more difficult outside because we're moving around and stuff, but we'll figure it out. We did a live stream from a trade show last year where I was moving everywhere. Surely we can do one from our own garden. We can figure it out. Okay, what's our third row that we've got here?
I have the rest is a bunch of green onions.
Okay.
The
Let me do a
parade.
bit of cleanup here. So this is a situation people may find themselves in that I found myself in. I got a little click happy and clicked too much earlier and accidentally added an arugula. And it's not on the grid right now, but it's on the list. So I want to show this because this is a situation like if you find yourself where you keep having something that's coming up, you're like, it's not on grid, and you're like, why is it showing? Come over to the list view and you'll find it here, and I can delete it because I didn't mean to click that arugula. I just like accidentally clicked it. So now when
I
I
don't
come back,
I don't really like the taste of arugula, so
yeah. So now when I come back, then I'm not going over because we try and be smart with this screen, meaning if you have plants that are in your list that are not in the garden already, then we're going to open to this screen automatically. But if all of your plants that are on the grid or that are in your list are already over on the grid, then we're going to open to here so you can add a new plant. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, what was the next one you said?
it was the green onion parade.
What type parade?
And then we did have a question about what the best plant lights to use. So over here behind us, these are just grow lights we got off of what, Amazon. I mean, we do a lot of different ones. You can use just LED shop lights as well. If you aren't growing things to be like fruit or flowers or anything like that indoors, then you don't have to have like actual grow lights. We do have some of those where we do want to be growing some things indoors. But for the most part, like as long as you just have like some like LED shop lights hanging around, like those will do great for you.
Yeah, and just to clarify, she's not saying that you can't start flowers indoors. What we're saying is we're not going to grow it all the way to
To
producing the flower.
flower,
Like
yes.
if you're not growing a plant, like because that's when the plant needs like if you go down the rabbit hole of light color, and there's quite the rabbit hole on YouTube, I promise you, you can go down it. I've been down it, and what you'll find is that if you're just starting seeds and then you're moving them outside, it really doesn't matter as long as they're just like basic shop lights work fine for it. What like now the strength of the light can matter because if you spend money on a high quality light, you won't have to have the lights as close to the light. The cheaper the light, the closer you need to have the lights to it. We use these adjustable hangers though to make it to where I'm trying to find them to pull them up. I thought we had them here where we could pull them up easily. Here they are. So we use these things to make it to where we can easily adjust the height of our lights. Um, so that it just makes it simple for dealing with that. So that we just always have the lights right there a few inches above our plants. And we just adjust them with those hangers. So I'd rather do that than spend a whole bunch of extra money on high powered grow lights. I would rather just have it to where I can adjust them easier and not use as much energy too, so it doesn't. Especially switching to LED lights, our electric bill went down for our seed starting operations that we do here. Before we were using a lot of electricity with all the light bulbs that we had, and also you can just tell in the heat that's coming off of it. It's a big difference. So, all right. Well, we are, man, time has been flying, and um, it is time to announce a winner, and then we will come back and answer any other questions. So, um, give me 1 second and let me get this entered into here. Have it choose one. Okay. All right. Congratulations to Shasta Rose. Is it Rose Ward? Shasta Rose Ward. Congratulations. Email us at info@seedaspoon.net, and we will get you set up with a 1 year premium access to the Seed to Spoon app. And also pick a pack of seeds from the stuff we've been talking about today. You can pick a pack of seeds from any of the varieties we talked about that you want to grow. Pick your favorite, and we will send them out to you. So just send that over to us an email, and we will get that out. And then also, if you're watching this after the fact, we will be announcing a winner at the beginning of next week's live stream for the same thing. So congratulations. I'm going to check on the chat, and then we will finish out planting. We got one more to plant, and then we'll be done. So normally we only do an hour on these, but we're gonna keep rolling a little bit longer. We got to finish planting.
I
So
was just gonna say I have to finish planting anyways. Like I want to at least. I want to get all of these planted and getting started. Okay, I gotta pick my next ones here while you catch up on the chat. I get.
and I see a question here. So these are uh, these are sponges. These are biodome sponges. So there's no dirt in them at all, which is really nice for seed starting because we don't have near as many issues with mold and pests and things like that because these sponges are sterilized before they're sent to you. So um, and also like the styrofoam that you put them into, you can sterilize those easily with some bleach. So it really cuts down on the number of issues that we have with both mold and with pests and just all the stuff you don't want to be dealing with inside. It just really helps cut down on that. Oh, oops.
Okay, I have some cauliflower, some kohlrabi. What else do you want to grow in here? This is a 40 cell. Do you want to do like some mustard, Swiss chard?
Definitely. Yeah,
Some,
let's like grow all the stuff we want to be in our grow tower. So I think all the things you just mentioned, these are all
okay.
things we're going to want like right off of our sunroom that are quick and easy for us to harvest for lunch. Because we're usually really busy and we only have a limited window to get some lunch together. So the more that it can just be like right there and easy for us to harvest, the better. That's what I really like about those grow towers and where we have them. We got a comment here from Shasta. She's still in the chat. Well, you're welcome, Shasta. Congratulations. I found her comment too that from earlier. Let me pull it up. So where is it? So she said that she's never been able to join us live because she's a nurse and it's never fit within her schedule. But this is like the first time that she's actually been able to catch it
Oh,
live. So,
awesome.
yeah,
That's
so that's
cool.
cool to see.
That was what I did before I did this. So I worked at the pediatric hospital that is here in the city, and I loved it. I loved that. So
Yep. When I met Carrie, she had just graduated from nursing school, and she
yeah,
was yeah. That feels like so long ago, doesn't
it
it?
really does. It's like a whole lifetime ago.
I don't store them very long because I cook with them a lot. So we've not gotten to the point where we've grown enough onions to really make it to where I'm not going through them long enough to like. We need to grow more onions, is what I'm trying to say, because I always go through them too quick. So haven't had the luxury of worrying about storing them quite yet, but we should. The years in the past, I mean, we've had a couple months we've stored onions where basically like here in Oklahoma, everyone has a storm shelter, or most everyone hopefully has a storm shelter. We have one that we store stuff like that in because the temperature down there is works well for it, and we'll just put it inside of a tote with some burlap, and that's usually, but like it's only a couple months that they're lasting down there. That was like 1 year that we actually grew enough to be able to do that.
Okay, so I have a couple different cauliflowers. So first cauliflower on the list. I'm sure nobody will be surprised. Uh oh, if I have enough seeds. Oh no. Hold that thought. Oh no. I put an empty seed packet in? Oh, what a tease. Okay, I need to see if I can find another one of that. Ah, I hope so. That
See,
was
but this is
deplorable.
like this is the cool thing about your little binder in action though, was like it's so much faster now to be able to pivot to something else and grab something else
Ah,
and like keep it organized.
I don't have
Oh,
any more to purple.
oh no.
Can you
Carrie ran
believe
out
that?
of the plant.
We are
Oh.
out of de purple cauliflower. I love saying de purple. It's really fun. Well, can you at least show them a picture of de purple? Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to order some de purple.
Okay.
You have to pull up cauliflower anyways, because I have fear. Well, let's see if I do actually. My goodness, now I feel like I need to check all these seed packets, make sure I actually have what I say I have. Okay, you're not sharing your.
Oh, I did it again, didn't I?
Yep.
Okay. Here's cauliflower. And here
Uh,
is her
Look at
favorite.
that. Ugh, aren't you guys sad for me now? Like, ugh, okay, I will order more, and because that's my favorite cauliflower to grow right there. I like growing the unique colors. I feel like they're a lot better. Like yeah, they just seem to do better.
Now, Amazing did do well. This was the cauliflower that did the best for us. But typically, cauliflower can be difficult for us. It's not my favorite to grow. We're growing it for the challenge, not for the love of it at this point. I much prefer to grow broccoli. If you don't want a challenge, don't try. Carrie just texted me in chat, no, it didn't. So apparently I'm wrong about. So which one was our best one then? I thought Amazing was our best one. Was it ironic because Amazing did not do the best? Is that why you're laughing? I remember that joke that you made now. You thought,
I was like,
yeah.
amazing. It was not. It did not perform amazing for us at least. Like we could have not done an amazing
Which
job.
one was our best one then? So was it Freedom Hybrid?
Um, I I think it was this one I'm actually about to do. I think at least the Fioretto 60, and because it's a different one, go down to
Mhm.
that Fioretto 60. So remember this one? It was the one that was yes.
Oops.
We had several of these, and it actually did really well because it's like smaller. It was yellow, and
I
it
remember
did
now. Yeah.
yeah yeah. This one. That's why I pulled
I
this one out.
still
'Cause I was
wouldn't say like it. We still did like you didn't get an A on our cauliflower project. I think we probably got like a B minus.
I mean, have we ever gotten an A plus on cauliflower?
No, no, we've never gotten an A plus.
I
Never.
try. I try. I'm one of these years. One of these years.
It's just tough. You got to like if you want to grow like the white cauliflower, you've got to keep keep it protected from the sun. They have it's just a long growing season, a lot of pest issues. It just seems like um, I'm not trying to talk you out of cauliflower. I'm just saying that if you're starting out and you really want to have success, do broccoli, like one of the broccolis I talked about earlier. Do one of those instead, because cauliflower is like one of the tougher ones.
Okay,
So
what is another one of those yellow ones? Let me see if I have another one of
clementine,
those. Clementine. Let's see what I have. I
morning
have.
star.
Oh, I do have clementine. Okay, let's try that one.
Yeah, if we can get that one, because that one I think will have. I think the
Guess
yellow
what I
one.
found behind clementine in the wrong spot?
Wow,
The
what
purple.
what a twist! Is anything
Okay.
actually planted in this one at this point, or are we still just hypothetically planting stuff?
No, I did Fioretto 60 in the first one.
Okay. How do you spell that? Fee what? F-I?
If I O
I
R
got it.
E. Okay.
Okay. Whole row.
Yes.
And it's white, right? So no, it's like a yellow
No,
tint.
it's a yellow one.
Yeah. Okay.
I I think just the having off colors is easier because then we don't have to worry about wrapping and it works a lot better typically for us. Oh good, I actually have seeds of this to purple.
Oh,
Yes.
good. Okay.
Okay, let's
Purple
do
it
to
is.
purple next.
Okay. I'm ahead of you now. Look at this.
Uh-oh. I'm catching up. I'm on the last sponge here. There we go. Okay, well, I still do want to try this other yellow one though, the clementine one,
Okay,
because we
third
haven't
row.
tried that variety before. So I have a feeling that with it, it looks like it would be a good one. So let's try that one.
What color is that one? Oh,
It's
that's another
it's also
yellow.
yellow.
Yeah,
So
we
I don't
got
know
two
what
shades of
background.
yellow.
There's a different yellow.
Yeah, it's subtle enough. I think on my phone I'll be able to tell a difference.
Okay, cool. Okay. Next, I have kohlrabi. So this one is the Express Forcer hybrid kohlrabi, and this one just always does amazing for us. And I love growing kohlrabi, but I'm not going to do more than one row of kohlrabi because I do have another variety of kohlrabi that I really like to do, but I like to somewhat split these up, and they're pretty fast. Like you can have these harvested. I think it's like it's like a month and a half, 2 months. Like they're super fast. So I like spacing these out a little bit and doing succession planting because they do generally do really well. And yeah, I love it.
And if you're not familiar with kohlrabi, it's new to us as of a couple of years ago. It's basically very similar to broccoli in flavor. It's easier to grow though. And like Carrie said, it's 42 days here before you get these bulbs here that you harvest. And then it's very similar to cooking with broccoli stems. The consistency and taste is basically the same as that. So um, we love kohlrabi because it's a great beginner plant. It's very easy to grow. You will probably have success with it, and it's really easy to cook with too. You can just cut it up into cubes, saute it with some garlic, some of the onions we talked about earlier, and that it'll taste amazing just like that. A couple other questions I saw too. I want to pull up a question about peas, and I would not recommend doing peas indoors. Um, Peas for us have always done best just directly starting them outside, and you can also start them just directly outside easily, like really soon. So if I go to peas and pull it up for where I am here in Oklahoma, the planting date on that starts next month. So depending on where you are, it could be a little different than that, but it is one of the first things that we start planting. And it does really well just planting along like these arches right here that you see are ones that we use a lot. These are just cattle panel arches that we grow peas on. So that's what I recommend for both peas and beans. We don't ever start them indoors. They really don't need the help. They do fine without it. And a lot of times they don't do as well if you try and do that. So that along with root crops are things we never start indoors. Things like carrots, we're never starting those indoors. Radish, we're never starting anything like that indoors. Um, yeah. Okay, let me jump back to our garden. Where are we now? After kohlrabi, what's next?
So I'm doing a new one, radicchio. So this is one, it should be in the app because I scanned the seed packet. And so it should be added because it wasn't, yep, right there. So
Interesting.
I scanned this seed packet to put it into the app because I wanted to have all the information in there.
That looks really cool.
I know. I know. I'm excited to try that.
Trying to pull up that big picture of it. This one right here.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that.
Nice. Yeah, so this will be our first time trying this one, but I'm excited about it.
Mhm. Yeah, I wanted to try something new. I like trying new things. It's always fun.
And you can keep up with us too on on the new stuff. That's where we put a lot of stuff on like Instagram and TikTok. As Carrie does a lot of short form content showing stuff from our garden, like just so if you don't follow us there, check us out. It's same handle. Just search for Seed to Spoon anywhere, and you'll find us on all the different socials.
Okay, now let's do your mustards.
Okay, which one are we doing first?
So, red giant mustard. So mustard is another one that I feel like is almost ornamental. It is so beautiful. I don't think it tastes I don't like the taste of mustard, but I think it is beautiful enough that I have no problem at all growing it. I think it's definitely something that I will always have.
So I do love mustard. And for me, my favorite way to use this is just replacing mustard. So anywhere I normally eat mustard, like which is mostly on sandwiches and wraps, that's where I'm putting one of these leaves instead. So we're growing this one. What's the other variety we're growing to? I'll show it while we're in here.
Savannah.
Savannah. So we've got a big green one and a
Mhm.
big red one. You can harvest them at lower stages though. Mustard also grows throughout the summer typically. Now, again, it's not going to taste as good, but it'll survive through the summer typically, at least here where we are. And then also, this scarlet red mustard, this tatsoi, is another one I really like. It's kind of like a mix between mustard and bok choy. Has a very like I really like this one.
Do you want me to find that variety next and do that instead of Swiss chard?
Well, I know how much you like Swiss chard, so there will be more plantings. This isn't all we're gonna plant. We gotta, you know. So what's the next mustard? The
That was
Savannah.
Savannah. Mhm.
Savannah. I just want you all to see, like, look how quickly I can keep up with this. So this is so much faster because my job used to be to try and keep up with helping her with labels and stuff.
Oh gosh. Well, and then we used to struggle with the labels like blocking out the grow lights. So some of these
Hmm.
seeds wouldn't do as well because the labels would block them out. So having this has been just it's been a game changer for us.
Makes it so much faster and easier for keeping track of this. So bright lights, I assume, is the one you're doing. That is
Shocking, I
her
know. I got
favorite
bright lights.
her favorite variety of probably anything that we grow, just
Yes.
based on how it looks. Let me pull it up. So let's talk about Swiss chard. So number one, again, another great ornamental. Some of these I think are going to go just directly in our front yard. We might as well. That's why we're growing mostly of it. We will harvest it for food sometimes, but I don't like the flavor of Swiss chard as much as the cabbage leaves. It does have a stronger flavor. It's got to be every now and then that I'm going to do that. Um, you can also harvest them young, like a small leaves, and they aren't going to taste quite as overwhelming. But
I
they're
really like
great
the taste of them
ornamental.
and yeah, I use them as like replacements for wraps. Like you just really need to take the like that little big stem off and then
Yeah.
like it tastes amazing.
All right. And
Voila.
with that, we just planted out. How many total plants did we just do there? That was 40, 40,
80, 140. Did I do my math
140
right?
plants that we just planted in an hour and a half, less than one plant per hour. Pretty efficient, I think.
Yes.
Um, so that is how simple it is to keep track of your garden. Those are some plants that we're planting. We're going to be back doing this, not the exact same thing, but every Tuesday we are talking to you in some way, shape, or form here on YouTube about gardening. So let us know in the chat if there's something else you'd like to see. Hopefully you guys like this today. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this. If you want to see more stuff like this, let us know. Um,
And don't forget to, if you're watching this after the fact, or if you're in the chat now and you guys didn't win and you want to, just as soon as this post, just go back in and leave a comment. So that way you'll be entered in to win again for the next drawing.
Yeah, I saw a lot of great comments. We tried to get to as many as we could. It's hard sometimes to keep up with both. We try our best, though, I promise. And if we missed your comment and you really want us to see it, please, like, if you post it after. I wish that brought the comments from the live stream over into the chat, and then we could just. But we lose them. Like once we hit end, like all the comments go away for us. So if we missed your comment, you really want us to answer it, just go leave it on the actual YouTube video. We will see that and we will reply to it. We reply to every single one of those. So, um, yeah, it's been fun. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Anything else, Carrie, we need to go over before we end it?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Okay.
Well, it's fun, everyone. Talk to you
See you
later.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.